When has someone tried to call the cops on you for simply existing? I was grocery shopping with my husband Carson and our 3-year-old son Finn when a complete stranger accused us of kidnapping our own child. Just a normal Saturday morning where Carson was hunting down pasta sauce while I negotiated with Finn about why we couldn't buy 17 different types of cereal. And then this woman came charging around the corner from dairy like she was responding to a 5-alarm fire. She had that wild-eyed look of someone who had just cracked the case of the century. Next thing I know, she thrusts her finger directly at Finn and announces with the confidence of a DNA test, "That's my grandson Samuel." I actually burst out laughing because I thought she was making some bizarre joke or had us confused with people she knew. But when I saw her face, she was completely serious. She stepped closer, invading our personal space, and continued, "He's been missing for 8 months ever since my son-in-law kidnapped him during their custody fight, and I swore I'd never stop looking until I found him. Now I'm standing there clutching my shopping list while this total stranger is essentially accusing me and my family of being part of some elaborate child trafficking operation involving a toddler." I tried explaining that this was definitely our son Finn, that we lived 10 minutes away, and that my phone contained approximately 50,000 photos documenting every milestone since his birth. She crossed her arms and shook her head like I was trying to convince her the earth was flat. Real clever cover story, but I know fake documentation when I see it, and I bet you've rehearsed this whole routine. When I pulled out my phone to show her newborn photos of Finn in the hospital with both Carson and me right there in the frame, she waved it away dismissively and declared, "Anyone with basic computer skills can fake photos these days." That's when she announced loud enough for half the store to hear that she was calling the police because she'd finally tracked down her kidnapped grandson. Within seconds, a stock boy stopped arranging apples to look at us, an elderly couple pushed their cart closer to get a better view, and the store security guard started walking our way with the expression of someone who really didn't sign up for this level of drama. Carson appeared around the corner with pasta sauce in hand, took one look at the scene, and immediately rushed over asking what was happening. The woman decided this was her moment to prove everything by crouching down to Finn's eye level and calling him Samuel in that exaggerated baby talk voice people use when they're trying to lure a scared animal. "Samuel, sweetie, it's Grandma. Come give me a big hug and we'll go get ice cream right now." Finn stared at her like she had just started reciting the periodic table, then immediately reached for Carson and buried his face in his shoulder while making that pre-meltdown whimpering sound that every parent recognizes as code red. She tried again, this time producing candy from her purse and waving it around, but Finn just clung tighter to Carson and started crying. When her grand reunion failed spectacularly, she stood up and declared with absolute conviction, "You've obviously used advanced psychological manipulation to brainwash him and destroy his connection to his real family." Carson looked at her and said, "Lady, he's 3 years old. The most advanced psychology he understands is when we tell him vegetables make him strong like superheroes." Just as she was pulling out her phone to make good on her police threat, a familiar voice called out from behind us, "Hey there, Finn. How's my favorite little patient doing today?" It was the pediatrician from the clinic next door, who had been Finn's doctor since birth and apparently needed groceries for dinner. She walked over, ruffled his hair, and said to us, "I see you met our local conspiracy enthusiast. Last month she tried convincing her elderly neighbor that her golden retriever was actually her missing cat." The woman's face cycled through about 20 different shades of red before she mumbled something about looking exactly like him from the back and practically sprinted toward the exit like her embarrassment was chasing her with a warrant. Finn looked up at Carson and me with those big confused eyes and asked, "Daddy and Papa, was that lady crazy?" I picked him up while Carson grabbed our cart and said, "Yeah, buddy, there's clearly a reason her son-in-law doesn't allow her to visit her grandkids."